Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for being here on this beautiful Veterans Day. We fall into the category this morning, almost fall into the category of Murphy's Law, whatever could go wrong did. The chairs still have not arrived, nor has the podium, nor the lectern. But nonetheless, as you can tell, we've navigated the field. The chairs came from the library. Where did the lectern come from? Probably the library as well. Anyway, it's great to see you all here, and we thank you for being here. I'm Len Lanza, and I'll be getting you through the program today. Commander of the Guard, present the colors. All rise. Comrade Elliott, will you place the POW MIA cover? Murphy prevails. It's a good thing this isn't my first time doing this. Please be seated. What I would have said under the circumstances was, because of significant advances in forensics and DNA technology, thanks. Technology have resulted in greater opportunities for recovery and identification. Consider, if you will, at the end of World War II, 79,000 Americans were unaccounted for, out of 16 million who served, and more than 405,000 who died. Many, of course, were lost at sea or buried at sea. More than 7,800 Americans are still unaccounted for from the Korean War, out of 5.7 million who served and nearly 37,000 who died. There are still about 1,500 missing in action from the Vietnam War, of the 8.7 million who served, and more than 58,000 whose names are listed on the wall. Perhaps more importantly, significant efforts are being made and will continue to be made to recover those. It is these days more a matter of identification rather than recovery. I now call upon Reverend Stephen Sledesky, the pastor of St. Mary's Church, to deliver an invocation.
O God, ever gracious and faithful, we pause this morning to remember all who have given service to our nation, to remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, to remember those who have come back from war, to raise families, to contribute their talents in various ways to our society, some now deceased, while others still among us. To remember those actively deployed in our nation and around the world. And to remember that despite those times we have been engaged in war and conflict, your greatest desire for us is to foster peace. As we remember today the many women and men over the years who have ensured our safety and protected our freedoms and way of life, we give you thanks for all that they have given. Bless our veterans and their families. Bless our nation. Bless our world with healing and peace.
Thank you, Father Stephen. Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, David Moore, if you'd remain standing and take my place with the Star-Spangled Banner. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, David. Please be seated. I now ask First Selectman Eric Wellman to deliver greetings from the town.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and the beautiful town of Simsbury, it's my honor to welcome you here today. To the members of American Legion, Post 84, and VFW, Post 1926, thank you for organizing this wonderful ceremony. Thank you for bringing our community together as we approach the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year. I'm grateful for the work that both of these organizations do on behalf of veterans throughout the year. To all of us who are here today from the Brotherhood and the Sisterhood of the U.S. Armed Forces, a very special welcome today. The town of Simsbury is grateful for your service. I'd like to take a moment and introduce some of your elected leaders who are here. Our State Representative John Hampton, and members of your Board of Selectmen, Deputy First Selectman Sean Askham, Mike Payne, Chris Peterson, Jackie Batos, First Selectman-elect Wendy Maxtutis, and incoming members of your Board of Selectmen, Amber Ebule and Heather Getz. I stand here today as your First Selectman, having never worn the uniform. I have not been to war. I have never left my family for months or years on end. And I've been incredibly touched, deeply honored to have been asked to give a Veterans Day message these past 4 years. But each year I am struck by perhaps the inadequacy of the English language and perhaps my own inability to summon the words to express the profound gratitude that I feel, and a gratitude that must be shared with all who wear and have worn the uniform and fought under our great flag. I know nothing about what you have experienced, your bravery, your selflessness, your scars, your suffering, your fear. And I stand here today on behalf of our community and say thank you. Thank you. Those 2 words and 8 letters can sit like an empty vessel until we back up those words with action and do the hard work that needs to be done. For us on the Board of Selectmen and on town councils and legislatures across the country, that means promoting policies at home that honor your service abroad. And I've always felt that good policy starts by listening. Calling a veteran, thanking them for their service, and listening. Really, truly listening. As a father, I believe that one of the greatest gifts that I can give my daughter is an appreciation for service, an appreciation and understanding that service comes in many stripes, but it is a vital part, perhaps the vital part of a thriving democracy. One of the honors of being First Selectman has been the opportunity to meet and to, in some cases, work with members of our veteran community. Many generations from the global war on terror all the way back to World War II. And as I know this group knows, earlier this year, we lost a dear member of this community, Dan Crowley, who served his country valiantly during World War II and then was an incredible advocate for veterans and his community in the more than 7 decades since. And as you know, a celebration of Mr. Crowley's life will be taking place tomorrow at Simsbury Meadows. Just an incredible man who will be so dearly missed. I hope today that all parents will take a moment out of their day while shuttling their children to hockey or putting food on the dinner table to talk to their children. Make sure they understand that today is a special day. Who veterans are, why their service matters, and what they can do in their community to honor that service, because our very freedom depends on that. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan told the nation that veterans know better than anyone the price of freedom, for they've suffered the scars of war. We can offer them no better tribute than to protect what they have won for us. To our veterans here today, I wish you a very special Veterans Day. And to our community at large, I invite you to do one small thing today that leaves our town and our world just slightly better than when you woke up this morning. I wish you all well, and may God bless.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. It being the 11th hour now, I ask you to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. In just a moment, you'll be hearing from Lisa Philippon. Lisa is the daughter of a United States Army soldier who fought in World War II, excuse me, Korea, and Vietnam. For his sacrifices, he was awarded a Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars. Inspired by her father's military service and the military service of her 3 older siblings, she served in the Army as a French linguist electronic voice interceptor from 1979 to 1982. Lisa met her husband, Sergeant Ray Philippon, while stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. They have been married for 39 years, are the parents of Lance Corporal Lawrence Philippon, Emily Pescatore, and Lance Corporal Brian Philippon. On Mother's Day, 2005, and their 24th wedding anniversary, Larry Philippon, Conard High School graduate, age 22, was killed in Iraq. Lisa has worked with the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs and the Healthcare Center in Rocky Hill, caring for our veterans in the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. She currently works as the Communication and Outreach Coordinator for Resilience Grows Here, a veteran initiative of the Farmington Valley Health District. She is a member of the American Gold Star Mothers and a member of Valley Community Baptist Church in Avon. Lisa, if you please.
I hope you can hear me. Good. Good morning and happy Veterans Day. I am blessed to be among the warriors of our nation and those who honor them. Can you hear okay? Good. Thank you to all who have organized this event. I applaud your stellar efforts to keep awareness on the front lines for those who have taken the oath to defend us all. With each Veterans Day recognition, you perpetuate the legacy of service to country. On the 20th of August in 1940, Winston Churchill stated, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." That statement holds true especially today in America, as that few is less than half of 1% of eligible citizens who serve in the armed forces. Along with that statistic is the fact that the majority of individuals who serve today do so with the influence of knowing a service member or a veteran within their own family. That being said, the average citizen's acquaintance with a service member is relatively small. Basically, military service boils down to being a family business. As introduced, I am a Gold Star mom. Most of you know what the Gold Star designation means, but many times the mention of my status leads some to smile and exclaim, "Oh, that's nice," as if I received a Great Mom Award. I wish that were the case. But instead, it indicates that my husband Ray, our two remaining children, Emily and Brian, and myself, are survivors of war. We are survivors of the greatest fear and a most tremendous loss, a dreaded knock at our door. Our oldest son, Lance Corporal Lawrence Philippon, gave his life in service to our nation and for the people of Iraq on May 8, 2005. It was my husband's and my 24th wedding anniversary, and it was Mother's Day. It has been 16 years, and in light of the loss that we and every other parent thinks they could never endure, we are pressing on. For that fact, we credit our faith in God as our strength and the many faithful supporters of our military family that He has deployed to circle around us. It may seem odd to have a Gold Star mom speaking today. Our speaking requests generally flow in for Memorial Day. However, I do have a few qualifying experiences which give me insight to this day of honor. I am the Army brat of U.S. Army First Sergeant Lee Bailey, who fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, receiving that Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars. My 4 siblings served in the ranks of the Marines, Air Force, and the Army. I, too, stayed in the family business, serving in the Army, marrying a soldier, and our 2 sons became Marines. I have also been blessed to work at the Connecticut Veterans Healthcare Facility in Rocky Hill, caring for our ill and aging veterans, and now with the Resilience Grows Here, a veteran initiative of the Farmington Valley Health District. Through my experiences, I have come to realize that we cannot commemorate either Memorial Day or Veterans Day without simultaneously honoring those who have sacrificed on the field of battle and those who have returned home, or those who have answered the call to serve. Our warriors are bound together in service, in battle, and in death. It is appropriate to thank our veterans on Memorial Day for their service, for it is their love and devotion to their fallen brothers and sisters that ensures that those who fought and served beside them are never forgotten. And on Veterans Day, it's fitting to remember our fallen. In doing so, we acknowledge the sacrifices made and the burdens that are carried by those who do return home. Veterans Day and Memorial Day have each other's backs. Memorial Day is a somber, reflective day of remembrance and gratitude for lives laid down, for our freedoms and protection. There's nothing happy about it. It's important to enjoy the day with family and friends, but done so with reverence to the empty chairs and the tears that flow from broken hearts of families and fellow battle buddies. Veterans Day, on the other hand, is a day to celebrate the brave and selfless warriors living among us. It's a day to remind our communities that national treasures live within their boundary lines. It is a day to remind our veterans that their choices to serve have indeed kept our lives and our nation wrapped in freedom and security. To the tables of our communities, we need our veterans to bring their outstanding leadership qualities, their belief in something bigger than selves, their honor, their integrity, and their example of service as a cohesive, dedicated tribe. These are all intangible qualities that have been forged into our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, and Marines. Our communities need to realize that our veterans are not broken. They are survivors and overcomers. At times, they are survivors of the worst imagined, life-altering, haunting circumstances. Right now, more than ever, our communities need to follow the example of our veterans and learn to be a family that has each other's backs, regardless of all that causes division. Recently, I listened to an author and speaker, Simon Sinek. He has been embedded with our military to observe their way of life and leadership. He makes a powerful statement that affirms to me how much our nation needs the influence and participation of our veterans. He says, in the military, they give medals to people who are willing to sacrifice themselves so that others may gain. In business, we give bonuses to people who are willing to sacrifice others so that we may gain. He goes on to say, we in the business world have it backwards. As we look back over our son Larry's life in the military, we see the development of his strong desire to defend those beside him. The bond he formed with his peers early on motivated him to volunteer to accompany fellow recruits into the disciplining sandboxes of Parris Island. He petitioned to be deployed to Iraq after removing the remains of his fellow Marines from Angel flights at Dover Air Force Base. And his final act as a team leader, to appoint himself the position of point man, meeting machine gun fire as he kicked in a door. For his bravery, he was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with Valor, which credits him for saving the lives of the 2 Marines and 1 corpsman of his team. Jesus' words in John 15:13 describes it best. No greater love has a man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. We have been working with an author who is writing a book about our son's unit. His interviews with those Marines who were with Philippon, as they call him, have been heartbreaking and raw. To read the account of Larry's death, their heroic acts to retrieve his body, and the love they express for Larry makes us cherish and respect them even more. We couldn't be with our son when he was taken from this earth. We believe God placed him among brothers who remember his last smile, who love him and will carry his memory and legacy safely through the rest of their lives. These very men have cried in our arms, and we have listened in the middle of the night when they have called in distress. The demons from their battles and losses are real, and the guilt of survival has at times overpowered them. They have lost brothers on the battlefield and at home. The unspoken bond that they share and the legacy they carry is like no other. That legacy is one of selfless honor and sacrifice. It has been passed down through the ages from warrior to warrior, from veterans to the young men or young women who are compelled to serve, each looking to the history of those who went before them and drawing on their strength and courage. We are forever blessed as a nation to have individuals who answer that call to give up their lives if necessary to preserve our freedoms. It is our responsibility as a nation, as citizens and on behalf of our fallen, to pick up the torch of guardianship and care for their brothers and sisters in arms who serve beside them. These sons and daughters of America are the very population who we call on for the protection of our freedoms, protection of our borders, their assistance when we endure natural disasters, pandemics, or to address terror from within. We watch the homecoming reunions on TV and social media when our troops return home. It's heartwarming to see them run into the arms of their families with smiles, tears of happiness, and hugs. Those reunions, by the way, are wonderful. And they have been made possible by our Vietnam veterans as they are steadfast to bring the current warriors home with proper honor and respect. They know all too well the added stabbing wounds of war when your country does not welcome you home and you are chastised for your service. To our Vietnam veterans, our nation owes you the highest respect, not only for your service, but also for enduring a bitter homecoming and waiting far too many years to hear an appreciative welcome home. Sadly, there is a battle that emerges in the lives of many of our servicemen and women after the homecoming and after the camera has been turned off. As quoted in the documentary, "Thank You for Your Service," our men and women are trained to go to war, but they are not trained to come home. We must remain diligent to address the increasing number of suicides a day among our military population. 22 a day is a conservative number, as it does not include the numbers of those taking their lives while on active duty or in the National Guard. Check up on your friends and ask the difficult questions. Seek out suicide awareness training. It saves lives. For those who do return home, we celebrate you with great thanksgiving. We thrive because of your sacrifices. The highest way to honor your fallen comrades and to thank you for your service is to ensure that you come home to understanding communities, that you lead successful and fulfilling lives, and that you and your family receives the best of care and support. We are richly blessed to have organizations as the VFW and the American Legion leading the way in that support. They are carrying the torch long and high for our veteran population. They fight hard at the federal and local levels to hold the VA system accountable and keep the security of veteran benefits front and center. They are a most valuable resource in our communities. To all veterans, I implore you to have the backs of these organizations. Membership is dwindling, and your participation is vital to ensure the honorable work of these veteran battle forces. Your veteran brothers and sisters need you to join them and take up the arms of advocacy and honor. I would be remiss to not mention the service of our younger son, Brian. He was 14 when his brother was killed. He lobbied to enter the Marines after graduating from high school. We held him off for 1 year of college when he came to us and told us that the memories of his brother were fading. But if he became a Marine, he would always be his Marine brother. How could we not give him our blessing with the knowledge of the incredible men and women he would find beside him in service? In hindsight, we are thankful that Brian chose to become a Marine. He was able to walk where his brother walked, and he gained brothers that will forever stand in the gap for Larry. Brian is our hero too. For those of you who have served our United States of America, may you know in your heart that you have given above and beyond what is able to ever be repaid. And may you know that your influence on others who have chosen to serve preserves the torch of honor, valor, and duty that you carry as a United States veteran. Your stories of service inspire, encourage, and strengthen others. Please share those stories. To those here today who are not veterans, thank you for your support and appreciation of the purpose for this day. You are among the reasons why our sons and daughters raise their hands to say, "Send me." Thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here, Lisa. Thank you. And now call upon John Fox to discuss the pavers for the Simsbury Veterans Memorial.
Thank you, Len. In front of me is an application for pavers for the Simsbury Veterans Memorial. Before I start on that, though, I'd like to just take a pause and to have everybody turn around and take a look at this magnificent cornerstone that we have in this community. 9 or 10 veterans from the VFW and American Legion got together, thanks to Len Lanza and Bruce Elliott, and raised the funds to put this together. And in 2016, Len Lanza led us in dedication one day after Veterans Day of this structure. And a lot of the money that was contributions for this memorial was because of the pavers on the plaza around here. That is a donation of $120 for a 4x8 paver and $200 for an 8x8 paver. And we were successful in getting enough donations for those pavers and honoring veterans at the same time to contribute largely to the structure that is here. I'm proud to be a member of that committee. I was proud to be the treasurer of that committee, and eventually we formed a company. We've dismantled that company because we've done our job. We finished our project. We formed a 501c3. We did our goal, and then we dissolved it. But today it's a committee. It's a committee of 4 members of the VFW and American Legion who continue to oversee the maintenance, the upgrades, etc., that the town does to this memorial. And with that, I would like to make a thank you to Tom Roy and Public Works for their continued efforts to maintain this memorial. So today, I have the pleasure of asking you again. I'm starting the 2021-22 paver drive. Bruce Elliott and I installed 19 pavers on the walkway and in the middle of the plaza that for this year's culmination of last year's and the previous year's paver drive. So we're pleased to, before Veterans Day, have successfully completed installing all of the paver donations that we got for the last 2 years. Because of COVID, we had some restrictions on what we could get out of the engraver the previous year, so we finally were able to do that. So inside the library, there will be one of these forms. They'll be black and white, or there's couple color ones. There's also some in library and Eno Hall and Town Hall of these paver applications. We're still seeking paver donations in order so that we can, number one, put veterans' names in the memorial. 2, they don't have to be residents of Simsbury. They can be anywhere, okay? They can be friends, families, neighbors, somebody you served with, to honor somebody you served with. So this is the start of this year's paver drive, and the applications will be when we break for refreshments. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All the vivid memories he called up. Those of you who were here 5 years ago for the dedication of the memorial have heard this before. We had 1,888 days into the creation of this memorial. 161 public meetings in Simsbury. It was a big job. I remember as if it were yesterday, the day we were sitting in the North Conference Room at Eno Memorial Hall, tossing around numbers, trying to figure out how much to charge for the pavers. And we were hopeful that we could sell 400. I'm happy to say that we just crossed the 700 mark with the sale of pavers. Thank you. David Moore, America the Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriots' dreams that see beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, David. I neglected to tell you earlier about David's military background. He comes from a family of lengthy military service. He had a grandfather who was the Pacific Fleet chaplain from 1943 to 45. He had a father who enlisted in the Navy in 1944 during the war. One of his aunts was a Lieutenant J.G. during World War II. One of his great-grandfathers was a private in the New York Cavalry during the Civil War. A great-great-grandfather was a captain of the Long Island Militia during the Revolutionary War. That's a lengthy history. Now, I ask Debbie Payne to talk with us about Wreaths Across America. Debbie and the DAR have a long history of working with Simsbury veterans, and we're very thankful for all that.
Good morning. The Abigail Phelps chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, looks forward to conducting the 2021 Wreaths Across America ceremony on Saturday, December 18th at noon in the Simsbury Cemetery on Plank Hill Road. We will be assisted by VFW Post 1926 and American Legion Post 84. This beautiful ceremony has become a holiday tradition here in Simsbury. We take time out of our busy lives to remember the fallen, all those who have served, and the men and women who currently serve. We honor all of them when we place wreaths on the graves of our veterans. And we think of those who gave everything, including all of their holidays, in service to our country. This year, we are especially aware of how difficult the season will be for some families. The 2021 Wreaths Across America national theme is Live Up to Their Legacy. This message charges us all to take personal responsibility for conducting ourselves in a manner worthy of our veterans' service and sacrifices. It reminds us not to take for granted the freedoms they have secured for us and that we too, as citizens, have some responsibilities to live up to. If you would like to sponsor a wreath, the cost is $15. $5 from the sale of each wreath is donated to a veterans cause. Last year, the proceeds went to Resilience Grows Here. You may purchase a wreath that will be placed on the grave of a specified veteran buried in Simsbury, or you may purchase a wreath that will be placed on the grave of an unspecified veteran that would otherwise be without a wreath. Or you may purchase a wreath to pick up after the ceremony, and you can place it on the grave of a veteran buried in another town. I have wreath orders here today, or you may pick up the forms on the signboards in front of the cemetery or at the senior center. We invite you to dress warmly and join us for this 30-minute service on National Wreaths Across America Day, December 18th at noon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Thank you. We now have Simsbury's premier trumpet player, John Zaniski. Thank you, John. Father Stephen, if you would do the honors.
The Lord be with you. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In closing, I issue a reminder about the ceremony that will be held tomorrow at the Performing Arts Center for Dan Crowley. It will begin at 2 o'clock. We recognize full well that the weather forecast is nasty, real nasty. The event is going to be held on stage. We seat 150 chairs on stage there, so if you were planning on attending, please continue to plan to attend. We look forward to seeing you there. I also want to thank the Troop 76, Scoutmasters, and the Scouts for their assistance today. We can always count on them. John, will you play taps, please? Commander of the Guard, retire the colors. Refreshments will be served by members of the Simsbury Junior Women's Club in the library program room directly over here. Number 1, following the ceremony. Again, I thank you all for being here today. It's turned out to be a beautiful morning, afternoon. Thank you.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.